That's good. So we'll start the beer board, and Ms. Eslick, if you would come up, please. Wow, we got quite a few. It's none of your business. Ms. Eslick, thank you for coming, and you're welcome to introduce your staff if you'd like to. Y'all are like hecklers.
Good evening. I'm Jackie Eastland, the Executive Director with the Beer Board. I have with me the Board Chair, Ann Arney, Office Assistant Julie Welch, and the Beer Inspector, Terrence Darby. In the operational budget, the Beer Board requested office personnel and scanner maintenance coverage. The scanner maintenance will allow for regular cleaning and repair maintenance on our document scanner. The office support representative will bring in revenue indirectly by allowing the inspectors to remain in the field performing compliance inspections, and will allow us to continue our partnership with the police department and the TABC conducting sting operations. Through these partnerships, the office now has an increase in our civil penalties as well as an increase in the workload due to processing more violations for the board. We are scheduled to go live with City Work on May the 15th, and our department is in need of additional help in the office. The position will take some burden from the existing staff by helping to update and maintain data in the program. This person would also accept documents, communicate with the applicants, and accept payments for applications, fine, and privilege tax. The department made a 4% request for tablets for use by inspectors in the field. The City Work program will allow the inspections to be transmitted electrically, saving paper. We requested an additional vehicle from Fleet Management. The department has positions for 3 inspectors and only 2 vehicles. Nashville has experienced tremendous growth over the last few years, and we have a continuing trend of increasing revenue. Thank you.
Have any questions? Councilman Glover.
Thank you, Chair. All right, if you don't mind, let's walk through here because I'm looking at your budget. The only thing I see, going back to page G34-3, is a total of $7,600 in additional monies being requested. But help me, because I was trying to listen on the positions and the tablets and the other things you were talking about. Help me understand what you're asking for and what the cost of each of those items would be, please.
Okay, do you have that? One was, we requested the office personnel.
We made a request for an office support representative.
Clerical?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And that was $51,500. We also requested, it was a 4% request for the tablets.
It was a how much? Out of the 4%
Out of the
fund?
4%
Okay.
budget. Mm-hmm.
And what's the cost on those, please?
$6,000.
Okay. And what else, please?
$1,000 for scanner maintenance.
Well, it says other repair and maintenance increase 1,000. It looks like that's there. Are you talking about in addition to?
No. That one appears to be there.
Oh, that is there.
Those were
Okay.
our requests that we made.
Okay, and then it says, all right, so the only other is the internal. All right, so the $6,000 on the tablet and the clerical 51.5. For some reason, I thought I heard you say you needed another inspector.
No.
Okay.
No, just the fleet, the car, the vehicle.
You need another vehicle.
Yes, we have position for 3 inspectors, and we only have 2 vehicles.
How many inspectors are employed now?
Right now, there's 2.
Okay, so are we adding an additional inspector, or is that somebody there that does
Just a
not fill the
vacant-
position yet?
Yes, just a vacant position.
Okay, and would you also ask for that vehicle to come out of the 4% funds?
We'll have to get back to you on that one. We submitted a request to fleet management for it. We'll have to let you know.
Okay, yeah, I believe, Rosie, I would like to know if this is something we're looking at capital on, or if this would be a 4% request on how that would work. All right, so the additional inspector, I just misunderstood you. The additional inspector, you've already got it in your budget. You just don't have it filled yet.
Councilman
Correct.
Glover, I think we have an answer for your
Okay.
question right
I've got an answer for you on the fleet question. If
Okay.
you- Her internal service fee that's going up $6,600. If you look at the internal service fee section, her fleet billing is going up. There is a planned improvement to add a vehicle to the beer board.
Which page is that, please, ma'am?
Under the internal service fees tab.
Oh, okay, no,
If you look over there, you'll see a slight increase in her fleet billing, and that is for the planned increase for her vehicle.
Okay, so it wouldn't, so help me, while it's internal, I get the piece that's an internal charge. Is it going to be part of the capital, or is it part of the 4%?
It would be part of the fleet budget in general services, so that vehicle would be added to the fleet over there in general services, and then we put the budget in the department's budget to pay for the operations, fuel, and maintenance for that vehicle. So
Okay.
that request was made, general services, it was approved in general services budget to add the vehicle, and the money has been placed in their budget to pay for the fuel and maintenance.
Okay, and so what efforts are you doing to try and fill that vacant position right now, please?
We're reviewing applications
Okay.
presently.
And any hopes of getting that done? Because I agree with you, we're growing, and I think that this is another area we need to make sure we're staying on top of.
We're going as fast as we can, and that's coming back to why we need office help.
Okay, all right, thank you, Chair.
Councilman Shulman?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Let me follow up with Councilman Glover's question. In 2016, you had 5 budgeted positions. In 2017, 5 budgeted positions, the same thing now. So to follow up on his question, how long has that position been vacant?
I'm guessing 1 month.
1 month. Okay, so you had 3. You have 3 permit inspectors, 3 beer permit inspectors, but one of those folks didn't have a vehicle, right?
Correct.
So you had 3 permit inspectors, but you only had 2 vehicles. So the third person couldn't go out and inspect, right? Okay.
The
So
shift-
how long have you been with that? Has that always been the case? You always only had 2 vehicles?
Yes, for the last, 8 years probably. It's been a long time. But we only had 2 inspectors for a while. So I think the last couple of years we were.
Added to the budget last year.
Last year we
got the
third
third
inspector.
You only got the 3rd inspector last year in the budget?
That's correct.
Correct.
So before that, it was just
2.
2 inspectors and 2 vehicles. Then you got the 3rd inspector, but you didn't have a vehicle, so they couldn't inspect. I'm just trying to,
Right.
this goes back
Unless
to,
they riding with another person or if the shift difference.
unless they called a cab or Lyft or Uber and could get around. All right. So part of this is just trying to, what we've been playing with today is trying to figure out vacant positions and how long they stay vacant. But also, I think there's another part to it, and that is you can't, if you have an inspector whose job it is to go out and inspect, and they can't get there because they don't have a vehicle, then that's a problem as well.
It's a problem. And if one of those vehicles in service, it's a larger problem.
Okay. Well, it sounds like we're getting this part worked out. Okay. All right. No further questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Shulman. Councilman Henderson?
Thank you. I wanted to ask for that open position as well as your other inspector positions, what do those positions pay and how long do you typically retain an inspector?
We have a turnover with inspectors.
What's a typical turnover with your inspectors?
I've said the last couple inspectors we had may have lasted a year with the beer board.
Okay, so they typically last a year. They're paid how much?
Starting 37,429.
Starting at 37.4?
29. Mhm.
And to what do you attribute the fact that you have that turnover? Is it just a workload issue, workload related to
Some of
pay?
it, I would say, is the hours, because we work different shifts. And it is they do have to come in and help the office. There's a lot of work in the office, and we sometimes have to call them in to come in and work with the front desk.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Henderson. Any other questions? I think Councilman Glover's going to double dip.
Yeah, thank you. Well, yeah, because I think you answered part of what my question was going to be. So there's different shifts because obviously you have establishments open throughout the night, et cetera. So did you have 3 inspectors at one point and the 2 cars were sufficient because of the overlap, or not the overlapping of shifts, but the changing of shifts?
They were not sufficient 2 cars because if we put them on a different shift, yeah, it would work. But if that car is in the shop, then we just have
You're down to 1, okay.
down to 1 car.
And the inspector, the FTE on the inspector is 37,429, but on the clerical, it's 51?
That 51 is including all the fringes. The 37.
No, the 37 does not include fringes?
The 37 is, I'm going by the pay scale, the metro pay scale. That would be before the fringes are figured in.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councilman Glover. Councilman Shulman? You're good? Councilman Dowell?
I just had a quick question to ask. I couldn't remember. About how many transactions do you process a day? I was just trying to get a feel, because I remember in the past years that I was just really shocked that you had 2 people running that office with the volume that you have. You are a revenue generator. And so I just remember you always had 2 people. So is it just you and Julie?
And Julie in the office.
And so is there any other administrative help in the office, like someone answer the phones?
No.
So all the people, because I know I send a lot of people down there, a lot of them have language barriers. They're not really clear about the application process and so forth. What resources do they have to help them with the automation and everything? Like filling out the application and so forth. Are you all the ones that do that as well?
We are the one to do that.
And you answer all the questions?
And answer all the questions.
And take the payments?
Take the payments, answer the emails, answer the phone calls. All of this is going on.
And the line at the front
prepare for the board
desk.
meetings, which we have every other week. Just every now and then you might have 3 weeks in there, but for the most part, it's every other week a board meeting. So we preparing all of that at the same time. And right now, we're preparing for the City Works program, and along with doing all of this.
I appreciate the work that you do. I know it's a lot, and I encourage any of our council members to come down and see the volume of work that you do with 2 ladies at the front desk. And I do believe that as a revenue generator, that we should, and which we have not in the past, but we should really look into adequately staffing that area of our city because of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Dowell. Council Lady Angie Henderson. You good?
I did not push my button again. I had inquired earlier, so that may be left over from last time. Thank you.
Maybe. It
I
just
do not
felt
have
like
another
you needed
question.
to say something. Council Lady Hurt.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I basically was going to say pretty much what Council Lady Dowell has said, because I have been in the beer board every year, twice a year, and it has only been Julie and Jackie who have handled everything. I've seen Terrence come in making copies. I know that he has taken me out on an inspection, and he's got to leave and go to another inspection, and he's only having, and he's got 2 or 3 different things, and he's trained people on site and just done so very much, and I really do appreciate it. And not only that, but you also let those people who come out asking for applications or asking to get the permits, you tell them what they need to do, how they need to do it, where they need to go, and the picture is just not as plainly seen unless someone comes there and see the revolving door of the people that you have. And I personally believe and know that you need more individuals to help, and I'm sure that is one of the reasons that you have a turnover, because the inspectors end up doing more clerical work than they do inspecting, and they want to do more than that. And I just commend you all for what you've done, because you do it over and over and over again. And Terrence has basically handled that inspector's job day in and day not out every day, and we thank you so much for that, and I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Council Lady Hurt. Councilman Coleman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I really do think you guys do a good job at what you do, but I want Ms. Lomack and Mr. Reebland, if you can help us out a little bit, because we've heard this position of the beer board right now for the last 30 minutes, and I guess people watching say, well, how could a city operate with this kind of shortfall and deficit that you hear the director talk about? What are our plans, because obviously this is a revenue driving source for, what are our plans to get this board where they need to be or more efficient? Or do we have any? Or do your office think that what we have is sufficient at this point?
I'll take it. I mean, I think that any organization should have a plan at any given time to try to do to improve their operations. I think that the beer board has made some significant progress over the past year, particularly in regard to IT. They have been working very, very closely with the IT department on bringing some of their functions online. And I mean, they submitted to me recently a project plan that had been completed to bring them on board the make sure I get this right, Jackie, the Kiva platform. And they have been working really, really hard to move that needle. So I don't want anybody to have the impression that work is not being done in the beer board to try to streamline operations and to make sure that technology is put in place to support them, because we do recognize that it is a small team and that they need some resources, but we do think that there is an opportunity for some automation in there that may provide them some relief. And Jackie, I don't know if you want to speak to the timeline for that, because I know you guys have spent quite a bit of time with ITS working on those initiatives. Is that going to begin over the next few months? What's the target date for that? I don't remember. I'm sorry.
The plan is to go live May the 15th.
Of this month? So that's actually this coming month. So, I mean, that's huge for them, that they've been able to work with them and to start doing that.
Right, and I understand that, but I'll tell you why you have the mic, but they're talking about something a little bit different. I understand the IT and how that would make them more efficient, but they're talking about boots on the ground, manpower, people going out checking at odd hours of the night. I mean, IT is great. Social media is the best thing going for us, but this is a group that have to hit the ground according to them, and if they have two employees and a vacancy out there and one vehicle, we're looking at just everyday fundamental operation. Yes, IT probably will move them to the next sector, but I mean, you're hearing these guys here saying that we need another body.
Councilman,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just wanted to say, the request was for an office support person to support the staff. So it really was, our hope that technology could address that need around office support staff. They did not request an inspector.
Okay, maybe I misunderstood. I thought they said they requested the vacant position be filled and an inspector.
The vacancy is still there. That position is still there.
Okay.
It just needs to be filled.
It needs to be filled. And so, Jackie, are you all have asked for another position beside the vacancy? Maybe I got it wrong.
Yeah, clerical position.
You did?
We're asking for a office position.
Okay, an office
personnel.
position. Are you asking
Right.
for an inspector?
No, not an inspector.
So
just for-
what Ms. Talia said is correct, and I had it wrong. You're asking for an office position,
Correct.
okay? And the part about not having enough
Right. And that
not
was-
having enough vehicles, have you made that request to the administration as well? To fleet management?
Yes, and by this office personnel, that will relieve the inspectors to continue to do their job during the day, instead of coming in, helping us at those critical moments.
Right. And the thing that bothers me, look, I think these guys, you know what you're talking about. You turn the numbers every day, but it's kind of disingenuous to hear that you need so much. You're doing such a critical job. We're having more and more permits that are being asked for, and you don't have the resources that you need. And that's what it sounds like to us sitting out here and probably to people listening. And I just want to get it clear. What you're asking for, what do you actually need to be efficient and to make sure that we're addressing it, because it doesn't seem to me, and I could be wrong, that we're not on the same page as to what you need and what you're asking for. And if the technology is going to bring us up to snuff, that's good. But I heard vehicles, manpower to get the job done, and that if you face with a contingency like not having a car, that's going to stop your service. And that's just a huge disconnect in my opinion. So I'm going to leave it right there. Ms. Womack, I know you're brilliant enough to look into it, but before we finish this, I hope we get this cleared up before we tender up a budget, because we all think that this is a very important agency and that it's running efficient, but it's not where it needs to be. So I just think that out of all the dollars that we talked about and we'll talk about, this is one small piece of the pie that we can really get straightened out. I mean, what, $37,000 a year is what you pay an inspector? I mean, some of the salaries we heard, and obviously they're lawyers, but people are making $60,000. And to give this department another manpower, to give them the resources they need, is just kind of something that we just have to get figured out, because it's too important. And I know you know the answer, so you can relieve me and the public when you address it.
Okay. Would you like for me to?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. The three requests, I think, that were summarized earlier, one was for an office support rep. We're hoping that the technology will provide some relief there. The second request that was made was for scanner maintenance. That it has been recommended in this budget. There was a third request for tablets. That would be a 4% item. And then there was a fourth request to add a vehicle. And that vehicle has been recommended to be added in this budget.
Okay, okay. Well, very good. And the administrative, how much is the administrative position? Is that the 37 as well, Jackie?
It's
with-
plus benefits.
With the fringe benefit, it was 51? 51.
Oh, with fringe benefit is 51,000. Okay, all right. Well, the good thing about it is the administration know of our need. They say we have a plan there. I believe them. Before we close out this, Mr. Chairman, wherever you are, hopefully we could come back to this. I think all of us know that this is important. So before we close out the budget, I would like to have a recap to see exactly where we are on this. And thank you very much to your staff. I think you're doing a great job. And I know this council, as well as this administration, will get us to where we need to be as it relates to your agency. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Coleman. Are there any other questions?
Yeah, as chair, I just want to make a comment about the staff at the Beer Board generally, because I don't work with them every day, but I've been on chair for a number of years, and automation is great, but I see who comes before the Beer Board. I see who comes as permits. I see who come as violations. These are not, a lot of these are people that getting online is not going to be simple for them. These are people who need face-to-face contact. A lot of them speak English as a second language, and so this is an organization or a group of people who do a great job at people who need help to do to take care of their business and to run it in a way that we want them to. And you know, I think that automation solves a lot of it, but there is no, and you know, maybe this is just my perspective, but there is no substitute for people-to-people contact. And you can't do that without people. So that's just, and they do an excellent job with what they've got.
Thank you very much. Council Lady Dow?
Thank you. I'm so glad that you said that, because that was the point that I was making, is that I know the people that come down to that department. I know I've been down there with some of the tobacco and beer store people, and they do have a challenge with English. So I guess it may be appropriate for me to ask the IT department whether or not the forms that they're putting forth in this automation includes various languages. Do you know if it does? If they can fill out the application in Spanish, or if they can have it in Arabic, so that there's not a
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
So, okay. You know, I agree with the comments that you made. I think that the complexity of completing these forms, and you know, you may end up spending more time going back fixing them than you would if it was just you're involved in the front end with automation. So I am going to add on my list to fund a position. You know, are you able to do a part-time position for someone to come in during peak times and so forth, or?
That would help, wouldn't it?
We can,
Well, when I say peak time, it's like, you know, you ask for someone specifically for administrative support. So I'm thinking about preparing those agendas and forms for the beer board meetings that are hosted and so forth. And I'm just wondering, is there any opportunity with codes or some other department to share a resource? I'm just thinking out loud on this, but I'm going to include this and keep it in mind. Thank you.
thank you.
Council Lady Dow, if I may say something, also being that we have an open position that we're currently looking to fill, we're also looking hard for someone that may be able to help us in the area with the language barrier, that may be bilingual. So in that aspect, that will help us to reach and more people in the community, because we do understand that primarily, majority of our permit holders are foreign or Hispanic. You know, English is their second language. So we are looking for that to help with that situation. So we are aware of that and are trying to address it with this position. So I did want to just let the council members know that we are aware of that and are going to address that.
Thank you. Council Lady Vercher.
Thank you, Chair. We were having some issues with my chair back here. I apologize. So I am one of those council members that appear before the Beer Board more times than I like to count. My question, and I know this is about the budget, but this is more operational, so I do apologize. How many permits have you guys actually revoked?
Not many.
Not many. Probably about 2 in the past 5 years.
I just want to make sure I heard you correct. Two in 5 years?
In the past 5 years.
And what was the grounds for those permits being revoked?
And I really would like to check that to make sure that that information is correct, but it's not many, I can tell you that. I think one that I can remember top of my head is that their location was, they was running it in a poor manner. And what was the other one?
The one location was over a period of time and a numerous amount of incidents. It came to a point with combined agencies that it was time to bring it to a halt. So it was due to a couple of deaths on the premises and just running in a disorderly fashion. So that permit was revoked. It was on Arctic Avenue. That's been about 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay, I was asking a question because the Beer Board, you guys' role is critical in the quality of life for our neighborhoods and for these particular establishments that operate within close proximity of our neighborhoods. For one particular business in my district, and I will not reveal who they are, but they are really taxing on our police department out there in our area. They're really taxing on me. I've been before you 4 times. Actually, I'll come back to you tomorrow to speak about this particular establishment again. So can you quantify numerous? I mean, what does your policy actually state when there's grounds for permits to be revoked? Or is it just a subjective opinion where you really don't have consistency as it relates to revoking permits?
There's a...
From a public safety standpoint.
There's a standard, we have standard penalties for numbers of violations and certain violations. I'd have to bring my notes to tell you what they are. I think it's 3 times sales to a minor is typically revoked. But 4. Mm-hmm. Okay, so there's standard ones. What happens though, so this may not give you a true picture, but so somebody is on that, up to that point where their next appearance before us, it's likely that they're going to have their permit revoked. A lot of times what happens is they close the business, you know, or they
or
turn
apply it in someone else's name.
Yeah, well, now we try to get to the bottom of that. I mean, you know, the board looks very closely at somebody who comes in from a revoked permit or what I kind of think of as a historical bad actor, make sure there's no relationship between them. We definitely probe into that in the questions before the board each time. And so I'm not sure that having how many we actually are revoked gives you a really good picture of how many people, how the violations are actually handled. Because, you know, people know what's coming up, and so they will turn in their permits. Isn't that, I'm correctly, yeah. They'll turn in their permits before they get to that point.
So would the better question be, what are you collecting on penalties? Are they fined for various penalties, as you alluded to?
Yeah, at the most under state law that we can fine somebody is $2,500.
For sale to minor.
For a sale to minor, and that's the most we can find, period. And there's less for other, I mean, we don't have the option to go above that. And there's less for other violations. And again, I'd have to bring notes on all the penalties and violations. But, you know, that's the most we can do. And I think we're pretty consistent about how we handle them. And that's one thing, as board chair, I try really hard to make sure that whether you're the small actor or the big actor or whatever, you get the exact same treatment before the board. And I think we do a good job at that and having the penalties so people know also what to expect when they've been cited. They know that they're going to come before it, and this is what they're going to expect.
So just a hypothetical here. If I'm a bad actor and I'm penalized $2,500, I pay the $2,500. I'm a habitual bad actor. How many $2,500 can I incur?
Up until, well, for a sale to a minor, and Mr. Darby, correct me, because you're kind of the expert on the amounts, but up to each time you're fined again, eventually at 4, you say, you'd be revoked. 4?
So we're going to fine them 4 times.
Yeah, and then there's another penalty which hits them also very hard. When we're talking about, those are money penalties, and so those are civil penalty options. The actual statutory penalty is like probation, suspension, and during that period, they can't sell beer. And so sometimes that's a greater penalty to a business than the fine. And that's why a lot of people will come in and they would rather pay the $2,500 civil penalty than not sell beer for a certain amount of time. So you'll have a smaller financial penalty. I'm speaking very generally because, there are specific ones for each violation, but you'll have a smaller financial penalty or the option of a smaller penalty, or to serve a probation or to serve a suspension, and it increases each time until at a certain point there will be no civil penalty option, and you will only have you will only be suspended for a period. So you won't be able to sell beer for 90 days, or is that as high as we go? Do we go to 120? Not a long time, but about 90 days, right? In that.
So basically, the suspensions are 14-day and 30-day suspensions when it comes to.
So I said, Mr. Darby is the expert on the numbers.
When it comes to sales to minors, but for the particular situation that you're talking about, if it were to be a sale to a minor involved in that, the first offense possibly could be a $2,500 fine, and that also is based upon the merits of the case and the board's decision on that case. The second offense could be the same, a $2,500 civil penalty, or possibly a 14-day suspension. And that also is based upon the board's decision. The third offense is a 30-day suspension. 30-day suspension.
No civil penalty option.
No civil penalty option. Then the fourth offense, if pertaining to a sale to a minor, would be revocation of the beer permit. Now, for other cases that involved anything other than sales to minors, anything else dealing with beer law violations would be monetary penalties would be no more than a $1,000 fine. And the merits of the case, the board could very well suspend, revoke, or those are the other items that they could very well utilize as well.
Okay, thank you so much. I guess I'll be seeing you guys every month on the agenda. Thank you.
We're always glad to see people who, council people from the districts where these businesses are. That's really important to us. It's also important to us to hear from citizens, and that's all part of the process of hearing the hearing.
Seeing no one else in the queue, we want to thank you all for coming, and that's it.
Thank you.